The fatal decision to fly. On December 10, 1967, Otis Redding faced a choice that would change everything. Despite heavy rain and dense fog clouding the skies near Madison, Wisconsin, he was determined to keep his commitment to perform. Around midday, Otis and 6 members of his band boarded a small twin-engine plane heading to their next gig. Multiple warnings came from airport staff advising against flying in such poor weather conditions, but an unyielding resolve pushed Otis forward. Known for never missing a show, he reportedly said, "Man, I've never missed a day in my life, and I'm not going to start now." The pilot, Richard Fraser, was experienced, but flying through thick clouds with low visibility made the descent treacherous. As the plane neared its destination, radio contact was made to request landing clearance. But what followed was far from routine. Suddenly, the aircraft's engine sputtered and lost power. Navigating blindly through the fog, the pilot was forced to rely solely on instruments, a perilous situation amplified by the plane's precarious condition. Friends and fellow musicians later revealed the old plane suffered from maintenance issues, including a faulty battery, raising serious questions about its safety. The decision to proceed with the flight despite these warnings reflected more than just dedication. It exposed a deeper tension between ambition and risk. Otis had recently acquired the plane himself, hoping it would ease the heavy travel demands of touring. Yet there were voices cautioning against such a choice. Legendary musician James Brown warned Otis about the dangers of flying this particular model, highlighting concerns over space and reliability. But Otis' commitment to his fans and career apparently outweighed these worries, leading to a fateful departure from Cleveland. This final flight was to be the last chapter in a career that was just beginning to touch widespread acclaim. The plane climbed steadily, slicing through the gray sky, the cloud cover thickening as they approached Lake Monona. An eyewitness watching from the lake shore described the plane's left wing dipping unusually low before it sharply banked and plummeted into the icy water. The suddenness of the crash stunned onlookers and instantly transformed the day into a nightmare. The details of what exactly went wrong remained shrouded in mystery, with only fragments pieced together from survivors and witnesses. Inside the aircraft, panic must have spread pretty quick, even if only one passenger would make it through. Ben Colley, the trumpet player, got jolted awake by the sudden impact, and he managed to get out of the sinking wreck by gripping a seat cushion. He then had to watch the whole awful fight for survival as the rest of the bandmates shouted for help, but one by one, the icy waters took them. The whole scene just kind of went still on the lake's surface, like a grim counter-music to Otis' soaring musical legacy. The full truth behind that final descent, well, it would come out slowly over the next days. So, what pushed Otis to say yes to something this risky? Friends and family later said he was worn down with that brutal routine, 3 shows in 2 nights, plus hours in the studio before they even set off. He had also sounded kind of unusually low during a phone call home that morning, kind of brushing off worries with tired reassurances. Still, his pride and professionalism basically defined him, and it pushed him toward a choice a lot of people felt maybe could have been sidestepped. That single instant of decision would become the pivot around which nearly every other part of that day turned. And there is this unsettling question too. Like, did Otis ever pilot the plane himself during the last flight? He was not a licensed pilot, but he was known for a fascination with flying. And sometimes he would be allowed to sit in the co-pilot's seat. But to understand the full scope of who Otis Redding was and what led him to that fateful day, we need to look back at where it all began, his early life and the roots of his musical journey. Early life and musical beginnings. Otis Redding Jr. was born on September 9, 1941 in Dawson, Georgia, into a world that would soon become his stage. When he was just 5 years old, his family moved to Mon, a city rich in musical tradition and opportunity. From an early age, Otis was surrounded by inspiration, listening to legendary voices like Sam Cooke and Little Richard. These influences left a deep impression on the young boy, who quickly found a passion for creating his own sound. Singing in his church choir became Otis' first true musical outlet. It was there that he began developing the soulful voice that would later captivate millions. In addition to singing, he learned to play guitar and piano, broadening his musical skill set. By the age of 10, he was taking lessons to improve his drumming and vocal techniques, showing early dedication to his craft beyond just casual enjoyment. Even in high school, Otis continued to nurture his talent, performing with his school band and earning a small income singing gospel music on the local Mon radio station. Family responsibilities soon took precedence, however. At age 15, Otis' father fell seriously ill from tuberculosis, forcing Otis to leave school and take on various odd jobs to support his family. He worked digging wells and other physical labor during the day while continuing to chase music in his spare time. His persistence paid off when he joined a local band called the Upsetters, known for their connection to Little Richard, one of Otis' early idols. These experiences steeled his resolve and gave him invaluable exposure to live performance. In 1958, when he was only 17, Otis took this kind of bold step by signing up for a local talent show called The Teenage Party, ran by disc jockey Hamp Swang. He went on and performed Heavy Jibbies by Little Richard. That moment seemed to grab guitarist Johnny Jenkins, who then came in to back him right there during the contest. After that, the whole thing turned into a run of wins, 15 weeks straight, which brought him a modest prize. But honestly, more than that, it just spread his name around town. Somewhere in all that noise, he met Zelma Atwood, and later she became his wife, and then his lifelong partner, too. By 1960, Otis and Zelma were married, and they started their family pretty fast. Their first child arrived not long before the wedding,